I have one life to live. I want to create a life for myself that has freedom. If I want to go swim with the dolphins tomorrow, I want to be able to do that. I don't want to go to my boss and have to ask for pay time off. I knew that in order for me to create this kind of life that I want, I have to do something really drastically different than what I was doing, because nothing that I was doing was leading me closer to creating this life.
Welcome back to Exploring Growth. On today's episode, I'm talking with Elina Panteleyeva, the founder of Dood Woof. She bootstrapped her brand to a remarkable 600K within the first year of building. And she's on track to do 2 million in her second year. So welcome to the show, Alina.
Hi, Lee. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is exciting. When I heard your story, I was like, okay, I got to have you on because this is totally the type of conversation I like to have with founders. And you're relatively, new into your business, a couple of years in. Most of the time I'm talking to people who are, 4, 5, 6 years in and they're scaling up, but you've kind of come out of the gate swinging and this is cool. So tell me your story. I know you've told it to many people, other podcasts, but give us kind of like the short arc of your story.
The short arc. Okay. So 2023, got laid off from my job. I didn't know what I was going to do. I've always had an entrepreneurial bug in me. For example, in college, I remember I would buy things off Craigslist and resell them on eBay. And I quickly realized that was way more fun and made way more money than my traditional internships did. So definitely love that aspect, except I'd never seen anyone in my family be an entrepreneur, have a business. So I just didn't really know what that was, or it wasn't even in my mind that was a potential path for me.
Sure.
So when I got laid off from my job, I was like, okay, well, maybe I should start a business. Like if there's any time, it's right now. I was 27, single, had some savings. And so it was just the right time. And so then I still did not know though, like what product or service I was going to sell. And the way that I built my business is instead of choosing the product or service first, I decided what avatar, like what group of people I was going to serve, and then built a product based off that. So in my case, I looked at my dog. He's a doodle, which is a poodle mix. And I said, okay, I'm a doodle owner. I think I can make content with my dog. It makes it a little bit easier for me to make content with my dog because I feel more comfortable with that. And so I said, all right, I'm going to serve doodle owners. And now I need to figure out what the heck I'm going to actually sell to them.
Okay. All right. I mean, and everyone loves dog content, especially doodle content, because it's warm and fuzzy. So that's cool. So you started with, you're looking at your dog thinking, we can do this. We're going to make content together. And then what? Like what happened after that?
Yeah. So then I was like, all right. So I decided that the person I'm going to serve, the business is going to be for doodle owners. It's niche down, but there's a big enough market. And I was like, okay, let's go for it. And so I still didn't know what product I was going to create or service. So what I did was I went on Facebook and I typed in doodle owners and into the search bar. And I just joined a bunch of doodle owner Facebook groups that had hundreds of thousands of people in them. And I posted in there and I said, hey, would anyone be willing to talk to me about the challenges of having a doodle? And so I had people that responded, like a handful. And I jumped on a 15-minute Zoom call with a couple of them and quickly figured out that the number one challenge of having a doodle is that they get matted really easily, like matted and tangled, and it's hard to brush them out. And so I was like, all right, so clearly this is a problem for doodle owners. So I'm going to create the solution for this. And I already know that this specific group of people, like they're aware that they have this problem. So it's going to be way easier to sell a product to someone that knows they have a problem and I have a solution for it.
Sure.
So that was the beginning of, that's how I came up with my first product, which is the Doodle Detangler Spray.
Now, did you already have this in your mind that this is one of the answers that they were going to give back because you have a doodle and you knew this was a problem? Or was this like, oh, yeah, I didn't even think of this as being a problem?
I can't really remember. He doesn't get super tangled, so it wasn't something that was like huge in my head.
Right.
But like it wasn't. But it was on the radar as definitely a potential. But I would never and I don't recommend this for anyone. Like I would always talk to your customers instead of assuming you know what they want. And those customers or those people that I talked to, they ended up being my first customers because they were just bought into the journey. They're like, oh, that's so cool. All right, now she's developing this. Like, that's so dope. I'm going to continue following. And they bought my product because they just trusted what I was doing.
Yeah, I got that advice a long time ago from an old business guy who just was, mega wealthy. And he, I'm asking for advice and everything. And that was exactly what he told me to do. He said, go ask people what the problem is that they're having. And if you can provide a legitimate solution, you tell them that and say, hey, if I could go and find a solution for you, would you buy? And then once you actually have it all put together, you come back to them and say, hey, you remember that conversation? I have the solution, I think. Would you guys be interested in buying? And most of them would. It's kind of funny how that works.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier to sell also because it feels less pushy to sell because you're honestly, you're doing them a favor. Like if you create a good product. So in this case, I looked at what was on the market. There were other detangler sprays on the market, but they were filled with harsh chemicals and ingredients that I couldn't pronounce. And so I wanted to create the most like an all natural human grade detangler. And so I'm doing these people a service by providing them this product and they want to pay for it. That's just how exchange works. So versus like if I had a dog bowl that I was selling, like I would be trying to convince people why they need this dog bowl. And it's a lot harder. And then it feels so salesy and they don't even want it.
Yeah. Okay. So you ask broadly, what are the problems you guys have? And the biggest one was matted fur. And you came, then what? How did you take that and say, because I mean, I have to imagine like, if you don't have, I'm assuming you didn't have any experience with, creating a product like that, like where do you start? Do you think, wow, that's a big like hurdle to go and understand how to solve that problem? Like, what did you do next?
Well, I went to my good friend, Mr. ChatGPT.
Are you serious?
Well, yeah, and that's when it first came out. So it wasn't even that good. Well, it was great.
Yeah, I was about to say, it hadn't been out that long. Right?
Yeah, it wasn't as good at all. But I said, hey, like, this is my core audience. This is the problem they're having. What are, provide some example solution or some ideas for solutions.
Sure.
And one of them was a detangler spray. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And so I was like, I'm going to create a detangler spray marketed towards doodles, call it the Doodle Detangler Spray, and then make sure it has the best ingredients and really is the best on the market. And I'm going to document my journey. So I started posting on social, talking about, it would be a mix of content. Some content would be like funny memes or viral videos, but then some of them would be, I knew they would get a lot less engagement, but they were more about what was going on, like what my conversation with the manufacturer was, what like some behind the scenes stuff. And that mixed with the viral content is like what built my audience. And then from there, since I was building an audience while creating the product, I was able to post on Instagram and be like, hey, would anyone be willing to test version number 1? And then I would get real-time feedback. So by the end of it, when I was getting ready to launch in December, 6 months later, I already went through a couple iterations. So I was at least 80% confident that this iteration would be like very would serve the market. Okay.
So the rest of this episode for people that are watching, where's this going, right? The rest of this episode is we're going to get more into the tactical about how you brought your brand to market and the tactical marketing, efforts but I want to kind of take a side turn for just a second because I'm fascinated about you not having experience in creating a product, not having legitimately, meaning formally, put yourself out there as an entrepreneur. You've done other things in the past that showed signs. There had to have been, and I'm asking you, what level of fear was there or of the unknown? Because there's a lot of unknowns there. You've got a good answer back from an audience that you think you can, what is the word I'm looking for? That's relevant, right? You can connect with them, but creating a product, marketing the product, starting a business, all of this stuff is unknown to you, right? Like what level of personal doubt or fear, or this is a big place that I'm going to play in that I don't really know anything about, was there?
So high, coupled with the fact that I cashed out my 401k and was living
gosh,
off my savings. Very high. But
so then what made you want to go forward and do it? Because it just seems like such a big mountain to climb.
Because I don't know, like I have one life to live. And so if I want to create a life for myself that has freedom. If I want to go swim with the dolphins tomorrow, I want to be able to do that. I don't want to go to my boss and have to ask for pay time off. And this is just me. Like, I'm not saying this is the right way to do it. Sure. And so I knew that if I, like, in order for me to create this kind of life that I want, I have to do something really drastically different than what I was doing, because nothing that I was doing was leading me closer to creating this life. And so that's I was like, worst comes to worst, I'll get a job. Like, I'll just be broke and not have a 401k, and I'll just get a job.
Okay. Because that's what I'm looking for. What was the motivation there? Because I think for a lot of people who have the dream of having the flexibility and the freedom and being an entrepreneur and all the things, when they actually have to look at the work that's in their face of doing a lot of things they've never done before, I mean, that's a tall order for most people.
Yeah, it just depends how badly you want to create this new life for yourself. But if you're not living the life you want to live, you have to do something very different than what you've been doing, or else your life's gonna stay the same, which is also fine. It just depends on what's more important.
If you want to accept that for yourself. Okay, awesome. That helps. I was looking for that motivating factor, because I think a lot of people listening are up and coming entrepreneurs as well, and they have that fear that's very present. And I know that all of us still have some of that every day. You might have good successes, but it's always still there. So I think it's good to call that out.
It's scary, especially in the beginning when you feel like nobody is listening. And you also, the other thing is, you don't have any data points or evidence that you can actually do this. So your brain legitimately has no reason to actually trust that you can say what you're doing. So, like, one thing that you can do to help that is to create data points for yourself, which is, say you're going to wake up at 7 a.m. and actually do it. Say you're going to go to the gym 5 days a week, actually do it. And so those little micro promises that you keep to yourself, they build over time. And eventually your brain trusts you more that, okay, I can build this thing, and I can quit my 9 to 5 and create a life of freedom. But I mean, it's a slow process. And in the beginning, you have to just train yourself to believe in yourself.
That's such great advice. And I agree 100%. I would say the exact same thing, that consistency and discipline over time with the little things. Those little things build to bigger things, and you start to build confidence that allows you to push into those things that are much more, unknown. Okay, so let's get back on course here. Talking about you're launching your product. You talked about going into Facebook groups, doing some surveys, getting to know the problems and kind of the nature of the community. It sounded like you were, as you're going through that whole process and documenting and all of that, it sounded like you're basically building a community. Was that your intention all along, or what was your intention, and what did you actually end up doing?
That was 100% my intention. I knew that I was living off savings. And so I knew that day one, I had to have sales. And I knew that the only way that people are going to buy a product that had 0 reviews on it is because I documented my journey of building this product, and they wanted to support me and the brand, and kind of had trust that it will work just because I was explaining the process, and they were bought into the journey. And so I call it stacking the deck. And so I had 6, because it takes a bit to develop the product, manufacture it. So you want to take that time, and you don't just want to sit there. And that's why a lot of people fail, especially on Amazon, is they launch a product and then crickets. And if you stack the deck in your favor, so we launched December 11th, 2023. And so immediately got #1 new release on Amazon, because it wasn't even a crazy amount of people that bought, but
Sure.
more than what 99.9% of people do on Amazon. And so that kind of starts building the snowball, and those people, you can ask them to leave reviews, and then eventually like organic people find you. But you need those initial people in that community to support you and want to go out of their way even to leave you a review.
Okay. So then how much of this did you do before you left your job? Because you were laid off, right? You didn't know.
Yeah. 0.
Oh, okay. So then it was just sort of like go mode, right?
Go
right
mode.
From day one.
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. Okay. So then was your first kind of go to market plan to sell through Amazon, or was it to sell through your website to Facebook users?
It was Amazon. I wanted to focus on one channel. Even now, I would say I sell 80% Amazon, 15% TikTok, and then 5% on the website. So barely any sales.
Why did you just choose Amazon?
There's pros and cons to both. I will say the pros of Amazon, higher conversion rate. It's 10% versus website is usually like 3%. And then people trust Amazon. You also, if you sell on your website, you have to drive all the traffic there yourself. On Amazon, once you start getting reviews, like that product now has the one I was talking about has over 1,000 reviews. So you can imagine people now just search for whatever they search for and it comes up. So you get just that Amazon traffic. So just a business decision ultimately.
Yeah. Okay. And so
there's a lot of cons too. So,
well, what are they? What are some of them?
They have pretty high fees. They will like every single person I know has gotten their product suspended or delisted at least once, which like that's every time it gets delisted. Like for me, got it removed and then had to pay a company $3,000 to get it back. And so that happens multiple times.
That sounds like the mob.
They're very finicky about things. There definitely are plenty. You don't get any customer data from them. So if you don't have a way to collect customer emails before you send them to Amazon, then you'll never know who actually bought your product.
Okay. So you're using Amazon as your single channel, and are you currently still doing that? Do you have a plan to diversify channels, or I mean, because the cons that you're giving me makes me think you would want that information from your audience, and you would want to own more of the attention longer term, so you could sell more products or different products. What's your thinking about channels? So
I do things a bit differently with Amazon. Most people just send on it to they'll run an ad sent to Amazon and then they'll never know about their customers. What I do is I recommend this to people is let's say you run an ad, or just really anything, you send them to a landing page first, and then you collect their data from there, and then you send them to Amazon to buy. So I do know a lot of people that like my email list is a decent size because I collect the data up front, and then I can go and ask them to leave reviews, etc. Okay. So
you do own your audience in that sense. Okay.
I definitely do own my audience. And then I definitely want to diversify. Right now, I started diversifying on TikTok Shop. So we have a bunch of influencers we work with there. So that's a channel. And then at some point, maybe I'll start driving traffic to the website, but there's again pros and cons. Like if I drive more traffic to the website, that means I'm driving less to Amazon, which means that it could not be as high in the rankings of Amazon because there's less people going there. So it's
sure. So you have to play this game. I mean, I would think if your conversion rate is lower on your website, it's still not net. It may still be a net loss, but from Amazon, but you're sending people to Amazon, they're taking more of a cut. So there has to be some kind of a washout point, right?
Yeah. It's like totally just a business decision, gut feel also. And just what do you want to do? I mean, diversifying channels is more work, makes things less risky. There's pros and cons.
Yeah, but on it, again, to the nature of this show, exploring growth, right? I know nothing about this world when it comes to Amazon, but to me, I would think when you send someone to Amazon, it's so easy for them to get distracted and lost in their Amazon account. Now they're off buying socks, right? So you've got just the psychology of it. So they don't even end up putting it in the cart, let alone buying it. Your data probably speaks against that because you have higher conversions. But also, I don't know, how many other products you can bring to that audience that's going to find those products. I mean, you've got detangler, but then let's say you want to do shampoo or you want to do something else, I would think it'd be easier to demonstrate that as a full mix of products and a brand holistically on your website or through social than Amazon. Have you found that to be true?
Pros and cons. So again, it just is. So on one thing that, for example, the landing page so add to UGC, the way I have it down is like UGC ad, and then they go to the landing page. The landing page is teaching them a ton. So they're not going to Amazon unless they're like
ready to buy.
Buying.
Okay.
And my conversion rate is way higher than 10% because I'm doing all the teaching off of Amazon, because Amazon loves a high conversion rate. Mm-hmm. So honestly, the less people that aren't converting that I can send to Amazon, the better. Gotcha. So if they're going to Amazon, they probably want the product is the thought here. And yes, we have a shampoo too. And there's different things, like you can bundle things on Amazon. You probably don't even realize this as a customer, but there's certain marketing where it's like cross-selling marketing you can do through there. I
think there's probably a educational a gap there, honestly, opportunity for Amazon to teach its consumers how to buy better on Amazon. Because I've never heard of that. Maybe I've done it, but not knowing what it was.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned about using influencers, and I wanted to kind of maybe roll back to, we were talking about building community. After you kind of launched and you were building your community, is that when you started looking at influencers, or when did you bring that into the mix?
I started before I had launched my first product. So I had a little delay in my manufacturing. So I was like, all right, I need to make use of this month to build as much hype as possible. Yeah. So I started reaching out to people. This was before TikTok Shop. This is through Instagram. And so I said, hey, I told them a bit about my story. And I said, I'm going to have this product ready in so many months, or in a month. I'd love to send it to you when it's available. And so
building partnerships.
Yeah. I mean, most people don't respond, but there are people that do respond. Yeah. And so they're excited. I sent them product. They'd post it on their story. Yeah. So that was in the beginning, and none of that was paid. I just sent them product, and I didn't have the money even to pay
What's
them.
That look like on a granular level? Is that you with a cup of coffee in your phone, just literally searching terms, looking at these influencers saying, yeah, they meet the criteria, I'm going to DM them, go to the next one?
Yeah, I had a whole spreadsheet with 500 influencers, and I'd be marked responded, followed up. It was a system. It was a whole system.
And just off the top of your head, what was that conversion rate like? If you reached out to 500 and manually like that, about how many of them responded and then actually did business with you?
Let's say if I reached out to 450 to 870, 50, let's say, responded. And then, okay. Not all of them. I sent them product. Not all of them posted. I wasn't paying them. So
yeah. So what's that? 20%?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. I'm bad at math, but it's not a bad conversion rate. Okay. So you sent the product. You didn't pay them.
Yeah. The good thing about it being niched is if they didn't if they didn't post out the product, they're going to be customers, So
yes. They're going to
like it. They're going to like it anyways. So
yeah, they can't help it, especially if they like their doodle and they are in that world to any degree. Okay. So then you use that month, then the product launches. How did you approach influencers or utilization of influencers past that point?
Now it's a lot easier with TikTok Shop because they have a whole backend system. So it's so easy to just send them samples. It's all automated through TikTok, and then Amazon ships it out to them. And then TikTok tracks if they've posted a video about it, and they just get whatever the video drives sales, TikTok will track and give them the commission. So it's so easy from that perspective. It's harder if you're starting out on TikTok to get influencers to actually want to make videos because they have so many people in their inbox. It helps if you're niched. And then once you actually get traction, they can see how much you're selling of the product. And the more that you're selling of the product, the more they're like, oh, this product sells and it's good. So if I create a video, it's more likely to convert.
Yeah.
So it's on a snowball. It's
So you really help them on the front end by choosing a good category and being very niche down because you did the work for them in that way. And then you already had the back end, all the setups to where the product works. You have the reviews, you have the infrastructure in place. So when you go to an influencer, it sounds like they're going to be more apt to say, yes, like I can actually make some money off this.
Yeah. And I give really good commission because I've built a brand. Instead of just slapping the product on Amazon, my product, I can charge anyone can charge what they want to charge, but I'm not like, my product is double the cost of the competitors. And it's a better product, but but by building a brand outside of Amazon, people want Dood Woof products. Like they're specifically searching on Amazon for Dood Woof. So I'm not really competing or going in a price war with these people that are $8. And what that allows me to do is have bigger margin to reinvest in the business, give a higher commission to influencers, which then they're like, oh, like if I sell this product, I want to make $8 off a bottle. Like let's freaking go. And that it's like a cycle like that.
So around pricing, have you noticed, or competitors, have you had any feedback or, just any touch points that you can point to say, okay, people saw what we're doing and then they went to go buy it. And then you've got this, bell curve piece of the market that's like, well, I do really like what they're doing, but now I'm onto this idea of a detangler. Let's just see if there's a cheaper one out there and buy cheaper versions. Have you found any, has there been any feedback or data points to say that's happening, or not?
Yes, definitely. Like, well, I have like a specific competitor that is a doodle company too. And so remember I said how Amazon delists people. Yeah. So when they're delisted, when their listing's gone, my sales are way, way higher versus when their listing's up and running. However, I need a lot less customers to make the same amount of profit as them. So just depends.
Does it help? I mean, you learned this in business school. It said that competitors are good, right? Does it help, do you think, to have them in the market and have a different price point or, a different brand? What's your take on that? I'm
not sure if it helps me, but I know that my product really helps them because I send a lot of outside traffic to Amazon. So I can see, like, one thing about TikTok is when something goes viral on there, it's called a halo effect, where on Amazon, you start seeing a lot more sales. And I see that when my TikTok sales go up, which means that my Amazon sales are going up, their sales are going up too, which shows me that people are finding me on TikTok. They don't trust it. They go on Amazon and then they find them as well. And we honestly look so similar. My product, just the ingredients are better. Yeah. But a lot of people, I'm still trying to figure out how to make sure that's way more known than it is. But I know a lot of people kind of confuse us and also want to go for the cheaper option. Yeah. Cause I think you always have a piece of the market that, even if you can afford the higher priced branded option, you might look for something because you have to rebuy it. Okay. So you mentioned before that you were documenting your journey with content. Let's shift to that. What does that look like? I mean, you probably started this day one, right? How has that journey of documenting your journey ebbed and flowed? And what does it look like today? Ebbed and flowed. So just depending on what stage I'm at, once I'm in the review stage, I'm posting a lot more. Like once the product launched, next thing is try to get as many reviews as possible. So a lot of what I'm doing is posting social proof and reaching out to people, asking them for reviews, talking about even the 1-star reviews. I'll put them in emails to people and being like, got this 1-star review and like what we're doing about it. So that's all part of documenting your journey. And then also creating the second product, similar steps where I was documenting, creating that, asking people to test the product, except then it was a much larger audience that was listening. And so now it's something that I spent more time focused on influencers creating videos. And now I'm getting back into the actually creating my own content. But it is nice that now I can have influencers create content that the brand is big enough that they want to. Yeah. And it also does diversify the risk a bit, because if you're just posting from one account, it's less likely people won't see it, versus if you have an army of 300 plus influencers that post, it's more likely people are going to see.
Okay. I'm going to share this if you don't mind. This is Dood Woof Co. This is your personal like founder's journey page.
It's a company one.
Or this is the company. Okay.
Yeah, it's the company one.
And then because I think you had, I was just looking up here, Dood Woof. There's another one here.
No, that's why I had to do Dood Woof Co. Oh,
gotcha. Okay. But so do you have a separate founder, brand that you're building, or is it you're just building it all together?
I have a separate page for, like teaching people e-com, but not for like, this is where I document my journey. It's all part of the brand. Yeah.
I love this. I think personally, because on the Signal Media side of things in my world, we help founders and CEOs sort of do founder-led content through podcasts. And so I'm kind of biased, but I think that's where we're at today. It's like people want to have more depth behind the content, behind the brand that they're engaging with. And I think especially for consumer product, for something that is so warm and fuzzy, like a pet product, they want to see the founder. I just think that they don't necessarily know to say that's what they want, but that's really what we want. We want to be connected to something in a real way. I think we have less of it today than we have had in the past, where people want your company to be connected to some kind of bigger cause, like you buy this and you give $10 to whatever. That's still going on. But I think today it's more about the person or the people behind the product. Yeah. And so when you have videos, with you in it, and it doesn't have to be every one, I think it lands so much better. Have you seen that to be the case?
Yeah. When I launched in December 2023, the first day I remember my discount code, something was wrong with it. And people messaged me and they're like, hey, just so you know, your discount code's like not working, but I just bought the product anyways. I wanted to support you and the brand. And so exactly, like, that's the only reason they would do that, is because they just, they just saw me as a normal person, which I am. And that was my whole thing. Like there's a difference if you have a brand and you have a ton of money to throw and make it look brandy, like that's good. That's totally a strategy. The strategy that I went for, because I did not have money to start this brand, was the underdog strategy. So none of my stuff looks very like professional, like it's fine content, but that's almost like part of the, I think I didn't realize this until later, but I think that's part of the appeal, is that this is like an underdog, kind of someone that doesn't know how to build an e-com brand, what they're doing. Very approachable is the way I would describe it. You're approachable, the brand's approachable, the product is therefore approachable. Like I see that's working for you. It's high quality. I feel like there's a fit there. I like everything that's going on here. So therefore, I don't care what it costs. I'm going to go to Amazon. I'm going to buy it. Right. I think that's the psychology happening behind, at least that's the way I think when I'm following like YouTubers and they're recommending a certain kind of hiking backpack or something, you know what I mean? Whatever, rabbit hole I'm down on YouTube. I trust what they're saying based on the pedigree, right? No pun intended, but the pedigree of the person in the product, everything kind of goes together. So when I get there to buy it, I have all that weight behind. Of course, it would be great to have a lot of 5-star reviews because it's a product, but I think that's a secondary
met mark of achievement. Mm-hmm. If it has some 5-star reviews and not a lot of 1-star reviews, then I'm fine. Like, I don't need, thousands. What's been your perception of the consumer's buying behavior?
Exactly, kind of what you mentioned. It's that it's like the brand's approachable. I'm just a normal person. I always say I'm a doodle owner just like you. I don't have this huge social media budget. It's very obvious.
Yeah.
But I am creating the best product out there, and I'm explaining to them all the ingredients. I'm really transparent about it, like why behind it. I think it's unfair that what's in the market is the only thing we can buy. Mm-hmm. And that's these products with harsh chemicals in them. And so I don't want to put that on my dog. And I don't think it's fair that that's their only option either. And that's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
I think that's very authentic. And I think we're living in an age of high authenticity, which I'm really grateful for, because I'm a big fan of it. And I think products can be sold at high rates when they find their people. And I think it's really cool how you started out, because you started with the people in mind, and then you brought authenticity to that conversation. And as you're building that relationship with all the people in the community, so it's a natural kind of win for the doodle. So you've got the detangler, and then I saw on your highlights here you have shampoo. You have the 2 products now, or where do you stand?
2 products, and then working on 3 more as we speak. So next year, my goal is to launch a new product every quarter.
That's awesome. And I can never find the share button. I wanted to share your website as well, because it is just so adorable. I mean, come on, look at all those dogs. Are those dogs even real? They can't be real.
Are they?
They look like little toys.
Golden Doodle, Bernedoodle.
Amazing. Yeah, is that your dog?
No.
Oh.
No, I don't even think my dog's on here.
Oh. Look at that. So humble, putting all your community's dogs on there. I love it. Oh man, this is cool. Well, hey, thanks for coming on the show. This is just really cool to hear your story and to see what you're building. What's next for you? I mean, you're doing great. I think you're on a good path. You got good momentum. As you're kind of closing in on the 2-year mark and moving into 3, what's your plans for Dood Woof?
Like I said, just launching more products, doubling down on what's working. I already, the good thing about being niched and having your customer data and having your audience is that you can continue launching more products to that same person. So you don't have to acquire them again.
That's right.
So you just the goal is to have a product suite so that the average order value per customer is higher, and it's actually good products that they want. So it's a win-win for everyone.
It's amazing. Going back to the fear question, now that you are where you are, did you ever imagine that it would turn out this good?
It's hard to put myself back in the shoes, because I just feel like in 2 years, my life is completely different, and I'm a completely different person. But
yeah, I
remember when my only goal was to have a 10K month, and I thought that was extremely unachievable. Yeah. And it became a 100K month and so on. And it is just insane, honestly. And the thing is, it's not rocket science. Anyone can do this. It's not this crazy math equation, chemical process.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just it's doing little things every day, having a blueprint, and just doing the same things every day, which compounds over time and then builds your business.
Yeah, I think that's good advice for people who are kind of in the weeds right now, maybe not having as much success as they'd like. Do you think that someone who's in that spot right now is maybe overcomplicating it or overthinking it? What kind of advice would you give to someone who's kind of hitting a wall and saying, that's great for you, but I've not had that same, experience?
It's hard to say without knowing exactly, but I've seen just from my experience of talking to people, I think a lot of times we diversify our attention and we see like this shiny new thing come on Instagram. We're like, oh, we should try that. We should try that. We should try TikTok, YouTube, all this stuff. And so I think in the beginning, the main thing is focus. Pick one channel to sell on, pick one place to do short form content, pick one place for conversion, which is usually email has the best conversion. And don't try to, in my opinion, I wouldn't try to get traffic from blogs and from Instagram and from TikTok and from like Reddit, because that's going to spread you way too thin. So instead I would focus and become an expert in like a traffic source, a way to convert people to sale, which is usually email. So figuring out how to get them from your traffic source to an email list. And then, what channel you're actually going to sell on. So Amazon, Shopify, your website, whatever service you have.
Yeah, that's huge. And then just applying the first advice you gave, which was to do it consistently and let it build over time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, if you think about it, if you keep making podcasts, not you, just in general, if you keep making podcasts for 10 years or 5 years, or just consistently keep making podcasts, there's just no way that something won't happen. Like there's literally no way. And so if you can out consistency people, like something will happen.
You're right about that. I've experienced that firsthand in the 2 years that I've had mine. A lot of things have happened that have come out of this. And some of it, I'd say most of it is not from my own doing. Most of it's not from me scheming it up, right? It's just from, oh, okay, I see this and this, these things go together. And now I'm going to improve by, proverbial 1% today.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. Thanks for coming on. This is awesome. And I appreciate you telling your story and giving us some insights into your tactical world of marketing and branding. So thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
All right. If we want to send people your way, where do we send them? Obviously, doodwoof.com. Yeah. Where else?
Follow me on Instagram, Dood Woof Co. You can reach out to me on my website, ecomwithalina, ELINA.com.
Awesome. Thanks, Alina.
Thank you.